Welcome, Capricorn Aquarius, to your May beginning of the month reading. Hope you friends are doing great out there. If you friends like this, please like and subscribe. Okay, friends, let's see what's going on with you. Okay. This message for the beginning of the month. This message is for the 7th through the 15th. Okay. What's going on with you from the 7th to the 15th. Oh, look at that. There it is, flying right out. Talking about the present power is not exactly where you want it to be right now in the very beginning of the month, around the 7th to the 15th, right? Feeling that there is something that is kind of weakening you down just a little bit. It could be a person or a situation that you just don't really have a handle on. So almost feels like you want to grab this just a little bit tighter than you actually can. So something you're kind of losing grip on right now. It's kind of the loss of control of the situation. It could be concerns of the past that have to do with the future. Maybe you feel like the past is kind of coming up and you're kind of losing the grip of where you are in the present for that future. See what I'm saying? So time plans and daily events could be feeling like you're losing a little bit of control through the situation. So maybe your budget is not doing as good as you wanted it to be, or something of this nature. So let's see what's going on. Definitely feeling like you need to get a handle on the situation. Yeah, there's a little conflict going on within this situation. Could have to do with a loving man, could be a husband, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, mother, a father figure. It's just this person who usually is showing some kind of I don't know, nurturing and love, but it feels like there's some kind of conflict going on that you would like to actually transform this situation. So it feels like maybe you feel like whatever was going on is in the present and you thought everything was going to get better in the future. It feels like this loving person that's around you is kind of moving backwards. They're not really honoring the path that you guys had made the commitment to do. So it does feel like they're returning to some kind of old, maybe temperament or old ways, something of this nature, something where you thought that, you know, they were doing something wonderful. When we're talking about the temple, it also could be that they're drinking or doing something that they used to do from the past. So if they said they weren't going to drink anymore, you might have found them with a bottle, which is talking about that sacred temple, and the sacred temple can be the body itself. So maybe they're doing something unhealthy to their body. Oh, man. Not feeling very optimistic about the situation. We're going to put that kind of right there because you just don't feel like there's nothing you don't deserve this treatment, and they actually don't deserve this treatment either. They should be caring about themselves a little bit more and caring about you a little bit more. So it does feel like whatever they're getting out of control about, it does feel like they have returned to some kind of past behavior. It's causing some kind of overwhelming conflict between the two of you. And remember, cross watcher, it could be them that's doing this, not you. You could say they're returning back to some, you know, kind of conflict that has to do with, you know, some kind of obsession or drinking or compulsive behavior. And so that's for everybody. The Temperance says that it started out as a moderate. And I see cups over here. So it does feel like maybe they said they were moderately drinking. Just take it. If it doesn't resonate with you, throw it away. But it does definitely have something to do with where they're returning kind of to the past, where you thought that the present and the future was going to get so much better. It's almost like they feel like they're testing the waters. So it does feel like, you know, they might even be testing you a little bit, you know, if they're hiding anything and you know that something is going on. But it does feel like there's some kind of moderate drinking, some kind of moderation, that it feels like well, right now I'm just kind of doing it in moderate. Don't worry about me, right? Don't worry about me. It's just a glass of wine. But you're saying you're not allowed to do that. You're used to being an alcoholic, that type of situation. Or you spend too much money, right? You know you're not supposed to do that because you're compulsive of this area. So for a lot of you, it does feel like some kind of breaking a compulsion and then returning back to the compulsion. But they're trying to tell you right now, I'm just just moderately doing so. And you're saying there's no such thing as moderation when it comes to you. So it almost feels like this loving person is really kind of breaking the status quo over here, what was going on. The Three of Wands, they're putting their hand back on that wand where they once took it off, and you're saying, no, what the heck? So you're kind of seeing what's going to happen. So some of you might feel like, it's kind of a psychic thing, right? But you're saying it doesn't have to be psychic. It's just in the knowing. I know what's going to happen. So it's like you're waiting for all of this to just kind of come to a crash. You're hoping for the transformation, but the transformation is more of you being hopeful that they'll heal and not do this anymore, or won't take it out of moderation. But you have that gut feeling, my friends, that you know for a fact they're not supposed to be doing this type of stuff, because they will return back to where they wanted. So it's almost like you're kind of stuck between, I don't have control over this situation and I'm losing my grip to this situation. King of Cups, they need some healing. They need to have a huge transformation, but it just feels like they're not going to. And this is kind of, could be even a little fearful for you and a little scary, because you do not want that, because it looks like you had some beautiful commitment after all of this happened, and you were very committed to continuing staying strong, but now you feel like you're losing the grip of the situation. So honoring the path, you're saying we were doing great, everything was going great, I was going great, everything's going great. However the situation is, if it's you, if it's them, if it's you, my friends, then the loving person could be watching you, right? So it would just change back and forth. So no matter what, there is definitely some worry about the situation. It's like they're escaping into going backwards. Okay? And it's not satisfactory at all, and it's not satisfactory for the commitment. Because, whatever they're doing, right? If you have Three of Wands, maybe you think they're cheating again, however it is. No matter what it is, it's falling backwards into something that's kind of thieving from your relationship, going backwards, moderately, stealing from the temple, not allowing the temple to be pure, the body, the mind, with the judgment, making bad choices. So it's saying, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're making bad choices. Unhealthy. We see the red cross here. Unhealthy, bad choices. And you're not feeling very optimistic about it. And when it comes around the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th, and the 13th, you're just not going to feel very optimistic about this situation. Because it feels like, where you're trying to help them or make them see the light, or when they keep telling you that everything's going to be fine, right? You're saying no. So you're not really seeing that optimism. Nope. You just want them to let it go. You don't really want to let them go, but you would surely wish that they would let it go. So that way you can get the strength back. You can get in control of the situation. You want them in control of the situation, but it also feels like you need more control of the situation as well. So it feels like there's, 2 in 1 over here, where you want them to have the control, and you also want to feel like you're in control enough to be able to help them, right? The deserving. I don't deserve this. They don't deserve this. We both don't deserve this. Our relationship does not deserve this. It takes 2 cups, right? And if you feel like it, for a while you became not just the 2 of Cups, but definitely the 1 of Cup, because the commitment was so tight, you could feel that separation into the 2 of Cups, and wanting that to become 100%, reunited where it needs to be. So it's like, there's nothing I can offer you, and they just are pretty much telling you there's nothing I can do about the situation. Whoever's having this situation where they've returned backwards, they feel like I can't do anything. But they're being very boastful. They're being very forcing. They're now straining the situation, straining their commitment. And choices have to be made. So you're going to be doing a lot of intuition work over here, trying to figure out what the choices that needs to be made, and choices do need to be made, because you're going to have to say, is it going to be for your self-satisfaction, for their self-satisfaction? You know, because in seriousness, when you have cups, you don't want to use in this certain situation 9 of cups, because that's self-satisfaction. Now, it's crazy because we're talking about, I don't deserve this 9 of cups. Yes, I get that, because you personally, for your own satisfaction, do not deserve this. They do not deserve this. But when you're coming to a commitment, we have to think about each other. So it's kind of crazy that there's 9 of cups, because it's almost to the point where there's decisions making about now how I'm feeling, not the two of us, but just me personally. Now, realizing that there is no self-satisfaction for myself with the toxicity that's going on, and very aware that this thing has gone backwards and this toxicity is rising. It's getting worse. You know, it's almost like the cycle, and aware that the cycle of changes is there, but not for good luck reasons. It's like they're closing the door on almost like the commitment. And maybe it is the commitment, because maybe you even had a huge talk about not doing this again, and then here it goes, they're falling back into bad habits. Knight of Pentacles with the 8 of Wands. Nope. Because we're not going to really have any discussion, because the discussion of how we're speaking to each other is so slow. There's not much respondence here from this person who's going backwards. So it's almost like they're kind of ignoring this situation and ignoring the talking about it with the Empress. And you might have kids, you know, and not talking about the abundance, not talking about the things that need to be talked about, not talking about their prosperities and how life was abundant. They don't want to talk about it. So maybe they had lost their job, or something really devastating has happened to this person to why they fell back in, right? Everybody's story is different, but we have to look at the situation. Why, guys? Why did this happen? You know, because I have 10 Pentacles upside down. So that could be saying they lost their job and this is what caused them. We have loss over here as well. So it could be definitely that they lost their job and they went into some kind of like depressive mode, not feeling like they can take any risks, or that there is anything out there for them. They're not feeling like they're worthy, right? And a lot of times that's why we return back to obsessive behavior, is because of the loss of something, someone, something. So it just feels like, you know, but it brings down the whole commitment, because they had lost their strength. And then through the rocky waters, it just makes it worse. So if you guys are arguing or anything of this nature, that could have been also a huge draining point to why. Yeah, because they have the Tower. The Tower, it looks like everything was happy, everything was great, everything was going smooth, everybody was peaceful, everybody was at rest, and then the Tower happened, and then boom, they couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle the pressure. So whether, like I said, whether it's you or them, somebody cannot handle the pressure. There's too much stress, too much pressure, so we're going backwards. Definitely going backwards. And that's just because I don't really want to focus on the task at hand. I don't want to focus on the stress. I don't want to focus, right, on trying to get my life right. I'm just miserable. And there's a lot of misery here. So there definitely feels like by the mid-month, by the beginning of the mid-month, like I said, the 12th through the 14th or so, it just feels like it's going to get a little worse, where you feel like they're just testing the waters and really moderately drinking. All of a sudden it becomes more and more. You see what I'm saying? Higher consumption of whatever it is they're doing. If it's gambling, they're gambling more. If they're buying things or hoarding, however it is they're doing it. And for some of you, it might even be hoarding. Buying things and hoarding things. Not throwing things away. Just allowing things to hoard up, pack up, not taking out the trash, just letting things go. You see what I'm saying? Your responsibility is something of this nature. So like I said, everybody's story is a little bit different, but you can see that kind of everything. Only for the fact we could say hoarding here is because almost like he's gathering everything and he's kind of moving. And it's like, if you're gathering all this trash to take outside, why didn't you take these outside too? But he didn't, right? He's not. It's almost like he's hoarding little things here and there. So you can see it that way as well. Especially if you're dealing with a hoarder and you've already helped them declutter their house, you can go back to their house and say, oh my God, come on, give me a break. Right? You've taken out the kitchen trash, but you never took out any trash in any other of the other places. Why are you holding on to this? They don't really have an answer. I don't think that there's an answer here right now until they actually open up to want to really talk about it. And it doesn't mean that they're not frustrated and they haven't, like, you know, said a lot of things already. It's actually really the healing point of it is actually really expressing what they're doing, not just garbling, you know, but really expressing. And then that way they will actually become more aware of the situation to want to fix the situation. Right now, look, they're moderately doing it and they're kind of all in denial. There's a lot of denial here. Because if they're saying, I'm just moderately doing it, it's not that big of a deal. God, get off my back, right? And then you're saying, no, as I'm watching through the beginning of the month, I'm seeing, you know, it get worse and worse day by day. You know, yesterday was a cap full of alcohol. Today is a, you know, shot glass. Tomorrow is a whole, you know, a whole cup. And, you know, and the next thing you know, you're drinking out of the bottle. So it's kind of that behavior. And it's almost like every time you wake up, you see them, it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse, but there definitely is a little of denial going on. But it has to be dealt with very lovingly, very nurturing, if you really want them to really, you know, speak and talk. So that's where your awareness is really coming up, the awareness of the over-obsessive behavior and the toxicness that they're putting themselves through and putting everybody else through. This is where you're having the over-awareness of what's really going on, so that way you can think and really figure out, how am I going to talk to them? Maybe how did I talk to them last time that I got them out of this? Or did you have to go to counseling? I mean, you know, everybody has their own story. But definitely it's going to have to be quick to action, right? It has to be some kind of quick to action thing here before you allow themselves to drown, right? You really need to throw them some kind of safety jacket for sure. Okay, and that was it for you, my friends. Until next time, peace and love. Bye-bye.